talking to Doc. It was amazing. I didn't even realize that you were gonna fight the great Muhammad Ali. Talk to me about that.
You know, back in the day, Leon Spinks was fighting Ali, and if Ali had beaten Leon Spinks, just Leon Spinks that day wasn't going to be beaten, and he had nothing to fear, nothing to lose, and he fought like it, and he beat Ali. So Ali had to go back and do a rematch to keep moving. So in that time, I signed to fight Holmes. So that bout was I had a shot. I had it for a short while. I was going to fight, and I was wondering why the guy. He was always playing me like he was always like friendly and nice and getting on, and that's how he works. You know, he's so nice. You remember Joe Frazier got him back his license, then he called him Uncle Tom and a gorilla and all that stuff. And he was good. I mean, I remember meeting him when I was a kid, and I had just bought a place in East Hampton. I said, "You got to come out," and he said, "Sure, I will."
I think that was his
was
way
amazing.
way of selling a fight.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was working you.
He's the greatest.
He was working you before he had to work you. And, you know, I loved him. I loved everything he did for the game. I loved how he, you know, went over and freed the
hostages in Iran.
All that stuff he's done and the great things. He traveled around the world. He was a really great ambassador. And it's a shame, but he loved the game so much that it kind of killed him in the end.
Yeah, that's right.
Very sad story.
Now, how come you didn't fight Ali after the rematch? After Ali?
Well, I was signed to fight Holmes, Larry Holmes, in June 11th, 1982, and so that took precedence. And then there was a injury. I had an injury, and then it was postponed, and then that took a year and almost 13 months to happen. And then we had a great fight in Vegas, and that was all she wrote.
Now, you were talking to Doc about the managers that they took a lot of your money, man.
No. Listen, I got my share, but they did things like, they hired one of their business associates to become a promoter, Tiffany Promotions. But whatever it is, I'm all good. You know, like I've accepted what went on. There was good and bad. I made some mistakes. I got caught up in the nightlife right after the Norton fight, because my career ended.
A lot of people don't realize, man, that the New York scene in the 80s, when you used to go to Studio 54, all those clubs and all that stuff, man, that was, I think that was the heyday of the nightlife in New York.
But that was all over wherever you went. That found you. And it was a very exciting life. I mean, I was with some of the greatest people of all time. I love every minute of what I did and where I went. The only thing is it cost me I wish I had someone to grab me by the arm and say, "Come on, Cooney, this is really important now. Pay attention." And I didn't. And who knows what would have happened if I beat Holmes? I could be dead now. We wouldn't be talking. So it turned out the way it is, the way it did. I regret.
How come you never got a rematch with Holmes?
You know what? That's a great question, and I always ask that question, why that didn't happen, because the fight was good enough, and it just never happened. And I would have what I learned in that fight was phenomenal, and I could have taken care of myself, and it just never happened. Now, that's the game, though, right?
You know, something that really bothered me going into that fight, that they used a racial overtone of it, white against black guy. I mean, that hurt me the most, because people that said, "You know what, that's not the way to go." But you at one time feel bad the way that they were promoting that fight?
Well, listen, so I had about 6 or 7 guys I grew up with, and we were in camp together. And how did a guy like me or any of those guys get a chance to be in Palm Springs for a couple months, Vegas? We were living a dream. There was no racism going on around us. And, King, I think that, who knows where it came from. Larry Holmes had a mailbox blown up. Hal Cosell was a great guy. He wasn't any racism about him in his life, and whatever happened, it happened. And what I really found out was the funniest thing is later on in life that my grandfather's mother was African American, so it was a lie.
Yeah, but I till this day, I remember when they also...
It was a crime.
Yeah,
it was a crime.
Billing Tommy Morrison also as the next great white
It was a
host.
crime. It was a crime.
And I really resent that from boxing, the way they took that.
Well, but anything to make money, to wake up that beast in people that are going to make them spend that money. That's what happens.
Now, a lot of people remember also that when Cosell brought you in to talk to him, and then all of a sudden, right after the Holmes fight. Was that set up, or that was?
No, hell no. That was no setup. Howard got his wig knocked off his head, and I thought, wow, this is getting serious now, because Larry knocked out Leon Spinks, and then we were going to fight, and so that was I'm from a little kid from Long Island. When that happened, I thought, okay, it's on, and we played the game. And I tell the people that, when I was back in the dressing room that night, there's a knock on the door, and the guy comes in and says, "Cooney, you're next." And the first thing, your life passes before you. Then you walk down this empty corridor with your trainer, and you're alone. It's deadly quiet. And then they open the door, and you hear the roar of the crowd, and that's when the magic turns on. And that's been a great experience for all athletes, I'm sure.
Cooney, why was it that it took you so long to be active in boxing? I mean, I remember you used to have injuries.
I had some injuries, but I couldn't get fights because I wouldn't sign with King, and King kept me out. So when the guys I needed to learn, to develop from, I couldn't get them. And then plus, I'm going to have to say it, that my management, they didn't really care either. They wanted to make the big payday. So some guy, this little kid who grew up in an abused lifestyle, was thrown into that arena, and I just went along with it. And until it was over, that you get to sit back and realize what went on, and then you just.
You think that was why you had a lot of personal problems with drugs and stuff like that? Do you think that all that?
I didn't have a lot of problems with it. I think after the Norton fight, I knocked out Norton. I think it got real serious for me, and I started to play around with drinking and some recreational drugs, and I think that's when my career ended. Little did I know. I wish I had you to say, "Come on, Cooney, let's pay attention," but it didn't happen at the time, and like I said, I might have been dead back then. I might not be here now, you know what I mean?
Thank God you're here.
So we're here. We're going to see some interesting...
Well, what do you think about Mayweather and Gotti?
I think Mayweather is so talented that, Gotti's... I don't know how they're getting this rematch, but I guess it was for after what went on after the fight. But it's selling, and they're going to go to Mexico and make a lot of money. And so God bless him.
I think if you came back,
you know what I am? I got to tell you something. I'm going to be 68 next month.
Now, I always wanted to ask you this. Wow, you look great for 68.
Thank you.
I want to ask you this. Tommy Morrison versus Gerry Cooney at their prime. How would that fight, you think, would have held up?
In my prime, I think I knocked Tommy Morrison. I mean, that's easy for me to say. He was a tough guy, good puncher. But, you see him with Ray Mercer and those guys. He took some shots and didn't stand up for him. But listen, no disrespect for Tommy Morrison. He had a good life. He made his mistakes too, and he never got the chance to get to that level.
Listen, man, it's always an honor to talk to you, man.
Thank you.
And I'm glad. Now, one last thing. Why did that fight with Foreman when he came in and with that body shot, man? You didn't expect that. That was new.
I didn't expect the uppercut. But listen, I hadn't fought in the cup for a few years. I was back. I got sober in '88, and I went back in feeling like I'm in great shape. But my timing was off. I got caught with the shot. He went on to tell David Letterman that I was the biggest puncher that ever hit him. But, that didn't make a win, right? And it helped me to turn the page and get on with my life. And that's really what we need to do, is get on with our lives so we can enjoy our lives. I got a beautiful family.
You're living a good life, man.
I'm on Sirius XM radio as a boxing host, and life is good.
Listen, man, it's always an honor to be
Thank
next
you, my
to
friend.
Man.
Love you,
And
brother. Thank you.
Man, and good luck with
Thank you for the
everything
interview.
you do, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Yo soy Jennifer Tavera. Quiero que se suscriban al canal Las Cinco Esquinas.